This morning I'm setting off on my bicycle over there to explore an old railway tunnel which has recently been opened to the public. No, not this tunnel. This tunnel. So where is this? It's coming up. Where are we then? This is one of two Windsor Hill tunnels on the track bed of the former Somerset and Dorset Railway, which ran from my hometown in Bath down to Bournemouth. It was closed as part of the cuts in the 1960s and it's been pretty derelict ever since. Originally it was mostly single line, and then as it grew in popularity, got busier, they doubled sections of it. They doubled it in stages. I believe this is one of the last to be doubled. When they came to cut through Windsor Hill, tunnel it for the second time when they doubled the line, just north of Shepton Mallet, they realised that if just deviated slightly to the west, they could make a shorter tunnel. It would be a longer cutting, but a shorter tunnel. And so the two tunnels are quite a few yards apart. I'm going to walk round and see if we can get access to the first tunnel, which is longer with the curve in it. This is the one that's now been opened to the public. There's the track bed that I've been riding on. That's the newer of the two lines. If we just cut over here, we're looking down on the course of the original line. When it was doubled, I believe this was the down line. So that was the first tunnel. That is still gated. They've clearly put those obstacles in the way to stop anyone gaining access to them. And they're both going through Windsor Hill, which is quite a steep little hill just on the outskirts of Shepton Mallet. Just scramble back down. Also on this section, this line was known for being notoriously difficult to get trains across because it crossed the Mendips, and this would be its very steep plunge down into Shepton Mallet, or conversely its steep climb up towards Bath, and the summit at Malmesbury was a couple of miles yonder. Just along there is a viaduct where it crosses a very narrow but steeply wooded valley underneath this Ham Wood, so we go along there and have a look. This then is Ham Wood Viaduct. It crosses a very narrow but very steep wooded valley down there. That's Ham Woods. We go down and have a look. There's some pretty impressive views looking back up at this structure. we go back through Windsor Hill Tunnel, and then there were 3 viaducts, again getting a very elevated railway through Shepton Mallet and beyond. So the first one goes across Bath Road. I believe they're trying to open that to public access. Whether we can get across it at the moment or not, I don't know. That's one of the reasons I've come out for. And the second is Charlton Viaduct. It goes through the gardens of Kilver Court. That is a masterpiece. And the third one, just south of Shepton Mallet, was demolished back in the 1980s. I believe it became unsafe, Presley. So let's go down there and see if we can get access to the second of today's viaduct. I really need to stress this is a work in progress. At the moment they're doing a lot of clearing and getting a hard core down. Whether they're going to put a finer surface on it, I would imagine so, I hope so. This is a little ramp down where you cross a minor road. That's the railway there, going up over an embankment across this former bridge. The trailway then cuts across this very minor road on the outskirts of Shepton Mallet, and that's the way we're going to go and see how far we can get. But the railway, as I said, it's at a higher level, and there's just this remains of a bridge left, and this gives you an indication of the severity of the line. That stands for Somerset and Dorset structure number 78 from the start in Bath, and Bath's only about 20 miles that way, so it gives you an idea how many structures were needed. Some of those were tunnels, quite a few were viaducts and bridges. 78, that's basically 4 structures a mile, isn't it, just to get across to Shepton Mallet. And then once it got south of Shepton Mallet at Evercreech, it then went across much flatter grounds through the Blackmore Vale. Much less required, I'd imagine. So this is going to be the path. Presumably it's going to get back onto the course of the railway there shortly. Let's go and have a look. A short rocky ramp up onto what was the track bed of the former railway. So we're now heading into Shepton Mallet. The countryside around here is absolutely glorious. After about a quarter of a mile of a track which cars could easily get along, and I'd imagine most cycles, you actually come to the northern end of Bath Road Viaduct. Now I believe they plan for this to be opened, so you'll be able to cycle across this, but at the moment clearly not, still locked. So from this location at the northern entrance to the Bath Road Viaduct, if we just go off to the side, you'll see how close we are to the town. That's it down there. I'm just going to backtrack and drop down there, and I'll speak to you from right underneath this viaduct. Here we are then, right underneath the busy Bath Road Viaduct. That's where I was just about 10 minutes ago. You get an idea of just how high that railway crosses this road. Crossing that minor road and the remains of that bridge, I crossed 2 others just on that short stretch, an overbridge and an underbridge, and then this would be the 3rd one. Now to give you an idea, when the railway was single, they originally built in stone. You can clearly see that, and then 20 or 30 years later when they doubled it, they built in engineering brick. In effect this is 2 separate viaducts just pinned together. You can see it going all the way across, and you'll find this pattern replicated on most of the bridges between Bath and here. Original, new. In the winter of 1945 and 46, that stitching came apart and this bridge was in serious need of some renovations. I'm not sure what happened to the railway traffic in those days, whether it's transported this short gap on by bus There's some old black and white photographs. I'll try and dig one out and put it on the screen now. Basically, the tracks were hanging across over there where the bridge came apart, and it was rebuilt or repaired, reconstructed, and that's the plaque to recognise that. I'm going to start heading back to Bath now. I'm going to ride up this busy road. Just before it joins the A37, I'll be cutting across both of them and taking a minor road, and then I'll be climbing up onto the ridge, onto an old Roman road. I've just ridden up that road from the viaduct. That's the Bath Road, which is joining this very busy A37. That would be Bristol that way to Yeovil that way. You can see why coming in from Maysbury on quiet roads utilising the old railway would just be so beneficial. The people have definitely got vision who are working really hard to make that happen. I'm heading this way up a very minor road. When I say up, it is up. It climbs up onto this big ridge, which will become the old Roman road, Margery 45B, my old favourite, the lead road from Winchester, many miles that way, to the Roman lead mines up on West Mendip that way. Anyway, bit of a slog up there on a hot day like this. I've just climbed up from Shep to Mallet, a few hundred yards over there, running parallel to this road, and then I've just crossed it here. I'm going to drop down into Stoke St Michael, stop there and get a cold drink, proper ice cream and a snack. This is an old favourite Roman road of mine. This is Margery's 45B, the lead road, which ran from Old Sarum and eventually Winchester, many miles that way, up to the Roman lead mines at Charterhouse on West Mendip that way. Made quite a few videos of this road in the past. So it's just gone 4:30 and I've stopped in the village of Stoke St Michael to get a much needed soft drink, an ice cream and some chocolate, just in case I need that on the way back to Bath. It's been a lovely day, but I just don't know whether it's gone. It's just flown by like that. The 2 tunnels Greenway in Bath, the partnerships were so lucky to have gained a lottery grant, which just allowed them to bring in private contractors and literally get the project finished, within about 12 to 18 months. It was so quick. As I understand it, this one around Shep to Mallet is relying on volunteers, so I don't think it's going to go ahead at such a ferocious pace, but when it's finished it's just going to be so good. So I hope you've enjoyed coming along today, just seeing some of it. I'll keep coming out over the next several months. Every time I think there's some progress, I'll come out and do an update. It occurred to me today, in 3 weeks time I'll be away on my holiday. I'm riding from Bath up to York and visiting 16 thankful villages on the route, so I'll be filming that. So I hope you'll come along with me on that. As usual, thanks very much for watching. I really need to wolf this down and then disappear.